but I need y'all to get, we need to be ready to understand how to make those with power move, okay? Because what we're seeing right now is it is not something that is random. It is not, just one bill over here, one executive order over there, or one case, one court case somewhere. These things are, quite frankly, all connected. And particularly as, was just, what David James just asked about, which I'll put that back up there for those of you just joining us. Thank you for coming on in. What he's talking about here is the SAVE Act. Now, the SAVE Act, which, God bless, the SAVE Act, which stands for Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act, right? That's what you hear me? This is that knowing the thing. SAVE stands for Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act. It is currently stalled in Congress. It is absolutely necessary for the Trump administration to advance their agenda to essentially become a single authority government. But here's the deal. Even though the SAVE Act, which I'm trying to make sure that I explain it in a way that makes sense. The SAVE Act would require all Americans to prove their citizenship with documentation that is honestly unavailable to millions, and to upend the way that every single American citizen registers to vote. That is full on fact. And so when, just to sort of give you guys an update, when you're registering or updating your voter registration information, we already have to print. It would require this act that is stalled in Congress right now will require you to provide proof of documentation, proof of citizenship in person, and that would be either a passport or birth certificate. The government issued driver's license or the real ID. And if you haven't gotten a real ID, I'm telling you, please get a real ID if you can, as well as a military or tribal ID. Those things would not satisfy the requirement to show that you are from here. The legislation would also invert sort of the responsibility to verify a person's eligibility and citizenship status from elections officials, right, to the election folks that we select as election officials and the government, and onto every single American, right? Making us as citizens have to convince the government essentially that we're eligible to exercise our right to vote. It would also change the way that we register to vote. It would upend all of the online voter registration. It would make it impossible to mail in a registration application, and it would eliminate voter registration drives. That's what this SAVE Act does, right? Safeguarding American Voter Eligibility Act, right? Got it? Just so that we know when we hear this in the news and you hear people saying SAVE, I don't want doers to be ignorant. I want doers to know what the heck is being talked about. Okay, fair enough. Even though at the federal level they've sort of stalled it for good reasons, it's the right thing to do. State versions of the act are moving across the country. The Center for American Progress reported that 14 different states now have SAVE Act laws on the books. 12 of those have passed since 2024. Some require documentary proof of citizenship, like a passport or birth certificate, in order to register or to stay registered to vote. Other states are requiring citizenship verification systems that can force people to prove that they belong on the rolls. And I'm going to hold there, right? Hold what I got there, right? I want to say this as clear as possible. Eligible voters should not have to survive paperwork, a whole obstacle course to sort of exercise their constitutional right, right? that you're already deemed eligible. And that's the crux here. Who's going to get caught up in this? The fact that you have to prove you need a birth certificate and your name has to match your birth certificate. Who gets caught up in this? Come on, doers. Y'all know. Let's run it down and why it matters to you, why it should matter to you as an American, right? As a person living in these United States, governed under the laws of this land, right? Whichever one you identify as. If you're here, living here, you're governed under laws of the lands. People who change their names, married women, divorced women, older folks, young people, military families, people whose birth certificate do not match the names they use now, folks who do not even have a passport sitting in a drawer somewhere. And I'll tell you something else, democracy, right? It should not be, I'm like processing this because I fit that in so many ways. My daughter fits that in so many ways. It's just, it is as a person who's done a name change. Democracy shouldn't just be easier for people who hold on to paperwork, right? This is a big deal. This is a big, big deal. Voters should not have to pay to vote, requiring a passport, renewing a birth certificate. All of that costs money. This is effectively makes the SAVE Act a poll tax. 1,000% sure. 1,000%. We saw this. And I remember when we were in COVID and we were trying to get folks able to vote and they're like, just mail it in. I'm like, you making me pay for a stamp. Like, we're not going back there. We're not going to go back in any iteration of that. We're not taking baby steps backwards, right? The fact of the matter is that these are not baby steps. They are leaps. And we should be leaping as well. And I'm going to talk about how I think we as the Commonwealth of Virginia have to start protecting ourselves and have to start really looking at how we leap too as these actions are being taken, right? So hold that in your hands. You got the SAVE Act, right? The Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act. That does nothing to safeguard.